Hey, it's Thomas Williams coming to you live with Eldorado Underground. I want to introduce you to a special guy. My arm's sort of broken, so I can't do anything with it.
Want me to hold it?
Yeah, go for it.
I'll hold it, yeah.
Anyway, this is Joseph Salazar running for...
My hand's in the way.
Here, wait, I got it, I think, after all. This is Joseph Salazar, one of my favorite people, a real authentic politician, which is like an oxymoron, right?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
especially in Colorado, that is really true. This guy I met him at my Bernie Sanders rallies. He was there. I didn't see him, but he was up at Standing Rock with us. This is a man of the people, but he's also a man running for office.
Come to your house. Remember that time I came to your house for that interview?
That's right. He came up to my house for an interview. He actually shows up for these things. He's like a real human being, not a cardboard cutout like Cory Gardner, I think, right? And that really inspires us to have a real grassroots candidate, but who's real, running for these offices, and who really seems to care about the people.
Take off my glasses. Yeah.
And that's something unusual. But I want to talk about the momentum he has in his campaign. That is fantastic. It gives us a great feeling. Talk about that, Joe. I know you're not bragging when you say you're coming out ahead already.
Yeah, so, my campaign's being outraised 15-1 by some of my Democratic opponents. And, they've been charging ahead thinking that money is just going to buy this seat. And then a poll came out last week, and we're 29 points ahead of everybody in the Democratic field. And it just goes to show what a grassroots community activist legislator, what that means to people.
Absolutely. We're tired as Dems or even as people in other parties of the idea of politicians being able to buy their seats or to get in with the status quo and just sort of swarm their way up the ladder. We've had it. Just nobody seems to understand that us in northern Colorado and the Boulder area are fed up, especially with issues like fracking. And the Hickenloopers and the Phil Weisners, they don't get it. They're still like trying to climb on the gravy train and hang on with that. What can you say about fracking, Joseph? You're one of the first candidates I've heard of to come out and say no fracking. All the others mealy mouth around it, say, local rights is what I support, but none of them will say banning fracking.
So did you see the CU study that came out earlier today that talks about the cancer risk of individuals around fracking operations? Do we also not know about the Duke University study that talks about when fracking operations are within a 1 kilometer radius of homes, that those property values drop 30%? Do we not know about the explosion of Firestone? Do we not know about the explosions that have caused the death of employees? About the orphan well that belched all sorts of oil across a state highway? Do we not know about the fact that they closed down half the town of Sterling last summer because of a natural gas leak, that they had to evacuate a Greeley High School football game as a result of a natural gas leak, and all the other incidences that have occurred just within 1 year alone, including earthquakes and what have you? I mean, we should be absolutely fed up at this point. We should be fed up with what's happening with this oil and gas industry. And there's evidence that we are fed up about it, because oil and gas industry funded a slate of candidates to run for Erie City Council.
Yes, they did.
And put in a ton of money to have those candidates win, and they all lost.
And we won. I mean, we as in the people won. So we come up against these Goliaths that we can't seem, we're just like, we can't seem to get anywhere with these guys. They seem to own everybody and buy everybody. But I tell you what, we are fighting back, and we nailed them in Erie, thanks to people like Christian
and Broomfield.
And Broomfield too, exactly. So people who are informed on these things realize how bad it is. And in Colorado, as I keep saying on my other videos, we don't have the water to spare for fracking. And Hickenlooper is talking about expanding Gross Reservoir behind Boulder to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars to hold water that we could not need to do if we banned fracking and wasted all that water.
Yeah, 2% of our water here in the state of Colorado goes towards fracking operations, and guess what? None of that's reclaimable. That's 2% loss. 2% is millions upon millions of hectares of water that could be used for so many other good things. We have a problem in this state, and the problem is fracking. The problem is the oil and gas industry. That's why we have to move towards renewable energies as quickly as possible.
That's right, and this guy isn't just throwing out a bunch of bones to us. 2060, we'll be on dandelion power, This guy has real answers, real ideas. to do that, and has the nerve to stand up to oil and gas, which these other people don't.
Which is the Martinez bill that I brought this year, to help codify the Court of Appeals decision in favor of the Earth Guardians. Earth Guardians being a group of youth who sued the state of Colorado to say that, you know, permits, oil and gas permitting, that before you permit or allow those permits to go through, we have to favor the health, safety, and welfare of the people and the environment first. And the Court of Appeals upheld that decision in favor of the Earth Guardians, and I tried codifying that as a state legislator so that way we can make this whole shift away from fossil fuels.
He's also a man of heart and a man who loves people, and you can feel that, you know, when you're around Joseph. And he sponsored the Ralph Carr bill. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah.
It's to change issues. He's not a one-issue fracking guy. He's covering everything we really need. As Attorney General, he represents us as the people. And that's going to be really new to have a guy who cares about labor, cares about people, to step in there. But tell us about Ralph Carr.
So the Ralph Carr Freedom Defense Act is a bill that I brought last year under the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution that basically told the Trump administration that the Trump administration would not commandeer any of our local resources, any of our local information to terrorize our communities, such as our undocumented communities, our Muslim communities, our Jewish communities, or any other targeted community by this administration, that we would stop them here in the state of Colorado. That bill failed in the Republican-controlled Senate. I'm bringing it back again. It will be heard in the House Judiciary tomorrow. This time we've incorporated the disabled community as well as the LGBTQ community, because Trump in the past year has started targeting those communities as well. So under the states' rights amendment of the United States Constitution, we will utilize our power to stop this Trump administration.
Fantastic. Well, this guy is going to be here on Saturday, coming up for the state assembly, and he's going to be a powerhouse. That's why I'm there, is to be a delegate for this guy, Mark Williams, and we're going to really take back this state from oil and gas. We're going to lead the people with a heart, too, for the people, and that's what Joseph can do. He's going to be Attorney General for the people, and that's really rare. And tell us about your labor connections, too.
So I've been working with labor for the entire time that I've been a state representative, as well as beyond being a state representative as a civil rights attorney. I've represented the steelworkers on the Navajo Nation, protecting their rights, as well as being in collective bargaining sessions for IBEW against Xcel Energy, and you know, joining every protest march and rally in favor of SEIU and the quest for a $15 minimum wage. UFCW against the likes of Walmart. And so, you know, I'm going to be a pro-labor attorney general,
One of the
which will
first
probably
in the
be
state.
the first in the state.
That's what you
And
said.
so, yeah, advocating for a state labor board, as well as going after wage theft and the misclassification of employees as independent contractors, so that way these contractors can stop paying unemployment and workers' comp benefits. We're going after those kinds of employers to start classifying employees correctly. That way they can get their benefits.
You got it. And to be clear, he is not taking corporate money. He takes money from unions, which is fair because he is a union man. He represents the people. But he's not taking it from corporations. All these other guys in Colorado are being ordained by Brownstein, Holland and Hart, and we're fed up with that, especially in Boulder, because they have such strong ties to oil and gas and other conservative, you know, values and interests too. And Joseph is a people-funded candidate, and we want you to contribute to his campaign. How do you get a hold of you on the web?
So you would go to www.salazar4coag.com, and then you can make a donation there. And yeah, Thomas is right that you know, we're not accepting any of that you know, special interest corporate money, and because this is your seat, as I said a little while ago, is that this is the people's seat. It's not mine. It's yours, and so we're hoping that you will fight for it. And I got to say something. I know how difficult it was for you to come back as a Democrat, and you did it because you were like, look, I'm going to support you, and I'm going to go to state, and I'm going to support you. And you don't know. I don't think you quite understand what that means to me. I mean, I really appreciate that, because I know that you're a very principled man, and you're like, look, you know, I'm having problems with the Democratic Party, but I'm only going to come back in order to vote for U.S. State Assembly, and that means so much to me. I appreciate it.
That's what I did. That's right. I joined the Democrat. Look what I've sunk to, people. I've joined the Democrats.
Yeah, man.
I was a Democrat for 20 years, 25 years. I don't know. I was independent too. I'd flip back and forth because as I get disgusted with these people. But, you know, after they cheated our man Bernie Sanders,
right,
I went to the Green Party, and a lot of my hardcore friends were like, why are you going back to the Democrats? And I said, you know, it's simple. I'm doing it for Joseph Salazar. I'm doing it for Mark Williams in my area going for Congress. These guys are like Bernie Sanders. They have the same platform, same values. They're strong against fracking, which is what we need. I'm also supporting Cliff Wellmig for Boulder County Commissioner, who's on from the Green Party. But fantastic people. I'm with Our Revolution Boulder, and we've endorsed all these guys. We should give you an endorsement if we haven't already, but he's got a national endorsement with Our Revolution nationally, and with this, you know, the Denver one and the state one too.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
how many
Working
guys?
Families Party.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the very first candidate that they endorsed in 2018. The Working Families Party, which works hand in hand with environmental groups as well as with the union. So I'm very proud about that.
Well, this guy is why I'm here, and I love him, and I've never forget meeting him at the first Bernie rally. He stands tall, and what could I say? But you know, these guys are the underdogs. The doghouse Dems, as you say.
Doghouse.
You know, so if you're upset with the Dems, you can just come back and vote for these guys. Even if you're an independent, the independents will, you know, decide a lot of these races too. Once it's in the, you know, the main primary, right? So if you're independent and you're disgusted with the Democratic Party, remember Joseph Salazar and Mark Williams are not your typical Dems. They are worth an independent's time and vote. Right, so I really want to stress that independents are really outnumbering people being disgusted with the Democratic Party. Anyway, I love this guy. I'll wrap it up and look forward to seeing you again. He is out ahead after being outspent 15
to 1
to 1. That says something. Watch out, Dems. You establishment Dems, we're coming for you.
That's right.
All right. Love
Peace.
it. Bye-bye.